have been here, but there is also another management meeting in the university that he is attending. The principal investigators and co-investigators, Ms. Caroline Maposhere, Dr. Ashungu Munyati, Director of BRTI, Dr. David Kassenstein, BRTI, Dr. Anat Rosenthal, Ben Gurion University of the Negev, Israel, the health educators, University of Zimbabwe, Staff Clinic, Sisters Tupete and Sister Nyabeze, the Chairperson Economic History, Dr. Oshewedu Fakulinane, the Acting Chairperson, Dr. Nyandoro, our invited guests, members from the Department of Economic History here present, and members from other departments in the Faculty of Arts here present, and our dear students. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this workshop being hosted by the Department of Economic History in partnership with the Biomedical Research and Training Institute, the BRTI, and the Department of Health Systems Management and the Africa Center at the Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, Israel. This workshop, among other things, is a product of the tripartite partnership that already exists between Ben-Gurion University, University of Zimbabwe through the Department of Economic History, and the BRTI. As a university, we value such partnership as it fits strongly into our strategic thrust that emphasizes networking and internationalization of the university and its programs. We are most grateful to the different players that made such a workshop possible. Community-based antiretroviral treatment is no doubt a very critical area of research, as it can assist in our greater understanding of how best practices can be adopted. Diseases can be a menace to development if they go unchecked. Not only do they cripple the human capital component of a nation, but they also drain coffers and divert resources. It is therefore in this best interest of any nation to combat disease, communicable and non-communicable. The training of students in methodology in health-related research is therefore very critical. We envisage a situation in which some students and even staff members can come up with joint research papers from such projects. In fact, students are encouraged to even come up with topics in these areas. It is great and encouraging that this workshop brings together people of different backgrounds and allows for a truly interdisciplinary ethos, bringing together economic historians, health and development practitioners. We hope that such a partnership will not only bring measurable and unparalleled results, but also will continue. I wish you a very fruitful interaction and very fruitful workshop through the days that we have indicated in the program. You are all welcome. Please enjoy the workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those welcome remarks, Dean. We move right along to some remarks from the director of the BRTI, Dr. Ashungu Munyati. Can we also give a round of applause, please?
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Let me acknowledge the acting dean. Papers in order. I'd like to acknowledge the acting dean, Professor Nesbeth Taringa, as well as, of course, our director of ceremony, Dr. Eric Makombe. Also to acknowledge the department chair, Dr. Ushe Fakurinani, and Dr. Nyandoro, I think. And also obviously to acknowledge our colleagues from BRTI, Professor Kassenstein, Dr. Anat representing Guren University, Caroline Maposhera, and all the others that are here. I think the best thing is to say all protocol observed, so that I don't offend anyone. But especially I'd like to acknowledge obviously the students that have made time to come to this workshop. I'm the Director General of the Biomedical Research and Training Institute, and really my remarks are just to tell you a little bit about BRTI. We were founded in 1995 as a not-for-profit making institution, more to act as a research support center to assist researchers, whether international researchers or local researchers that would like to conduct research and training in the country and may not have an institution of affiliation. So we are an independent organization, but obviously we try and make sure that our research and our training is relevant to the needs of the country. So we work a lot with the Ministry of Health and Childcare, and we have worked quite a lot with the College of Health Sciences, being a biomedical research and training institute. That has been where most of our affiliation is. So this affiliation with the Department of Economic History is a new affiliation, a new partnership which we cherish very much, especially as we look at issues to do with socio-economic problems of the country, and also to see how they can tie in terms of health development and health delivery. So BRTI, we are situated in Alvanil, not very far from here, number 10 Seagrave Road, and our staff complement is mainly to give the research support, as I mentioned. So we are mainly administration for HR, infrastructural support, IT support, and training and laboratory services. So what we do is to assist researchers and other individuals or institutions that would like to conduct research, and we provide the infrastructural support and all other factors of research that would assist you in conducting your research. So we manage your grants for you. We provide laboratory services in case you want to do laboratory-based research. And we also provide the IT support, as well as the personnel, obviously the management of your staff. So you will see that most of the staff at BRTI are basically contract-based researchers, whereas the core staff is the HR, the financial management, the laboratory services. And we also have a good component for training, as I mentioned, this Biomedical Research and Training Institute. So over the years we have managed grants that we got from NIH. Our funding is basically from competitive grants that we bid for ourselves. We don't have any co-funding for BRTI. So researchers, principal investigators, local and international, come in with their projects. And from the grants that they have, they are then able to conduct the research that they would like to conduct. And BRTI then levies an overhead for the operational costs for those projects. So, as I mentioned, training is a big component, capacity building. And we managed a grant for 10 years from NIH with our international partner, Professor David Kassenstein over there was our international partner, where we were administering grants for masters and PhD fellowships for institutions within Zimbabwe, institutions of higher learning. But there was a focus obviously on biomedical research, and this was to increase capacity for HIV and TB research. And a component of that was administering of the PhD and master's fellowships, but also to run a series of short courses. So over the years we have run short courses, both in biomedical but also social sciences and laboratory-based research training courses. So it was very exciting for us to be a partner with this project, which is basically the brainchild of Professor Kassenstein, the CBAT project, which has both a biomedical laboratory-based aspect as well as the social science aspect. So the ethnography is being handled by Dr. Anat here, and the biomedical sciences is being handled by Professor Kesselstein. So this is just an example of how BRTI is trying to contribute and facilitate in terms of capacity building for the country. And we are hoping that through this partnership we can then hopefully attract more funding to be able to do the research and to be able to train researchers, especially the postgraduates that would like to take up research as a career, because it is a fruitful career to be able to do research and be able to contribute to development through your evidence that you generate. So basically that's BRTI. As I mentioned, our funding is from competitive bidding. So over the years we have had funding from WHO, from DFID, from NIH, from Wellcome Trust. Our funding is varied, and our research is basically cross-cutting from the biomedical to the social science aspects and so forth. So the economic history department, as I've mentioned, is a new kid on the block, but we are very excited and we hope that the partnership can continue as we go along. I think in a nutshell, that's what I'd like to say. I'd like to say thank you for making time. I understand this is a vacation time, but the students took time, and I hope that it's going to be a worthwhile exercise. As mentioned, the first 2 days are going to be here in this room, in this department, and then on Wednesday and Thursday we'll relocate to the BRTI, and then you can also have a chance to see where we are housed and the facilities that we have. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director General. My apologies for that typo. We didn't capture full. Yeah. And I'm also thinking of changing my title now to Director General of Ceremonies. Okay. So moving right along, Anat is from the Ben Gurion University. She will outline our objectives for this particular workshop. Can you give her a round of applause as she comes up?
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for coming. I'm going to keep it short, so it'll actually be on schedule. That's my goal. First, I want to open with a few words just to thank everyone who is here. Of course, the acting dean for hosting us at UZ and for sharing your kind words with us. To the Master of Ceremony, who's been doing a wonderful job. Thank you very much. To the faculty of the Department of Economic History for this wonderful partnership and for hosting this workshop and being such a crucial part of the project, to Dr. Munyati, and faculty and staff from BRTI, and of course the students and the guests. I don't want to repeat anything anyone else said, just to say that it's a very exciting morning for me. We've been talking about this workshop for a year, I think, so it's wonderful to see it actually happening. And a lot of people sitting in the room took part in the planning and thinking and organization and did a wonderful job getting it done. So this is also very exciting. I want to take a few minutes just to talk about what we're going to do in the next few days. It's also in the program, so you can go back and look at it, but kind of frame the goal of the learning outcomes of this workshop. So, okay, we're missing the first sign of it. But upon the completion of the workshop, the learning outcomes of this exercise are going to be to understand the challenges of studying the impact of AIDS on communities and the role of community-based studies, to be familiar with community-based ART studies in the region and their contribution to the study of the AIDS epidemic, to be familiar with the breadth of qualitative and do research. And each of the modules that we're going to go through in the next 4 days were built in order to give us this list of skills. So learn more about the AIDS epidemic, about the patterns of AIDS in the world and in the region, know more about HIV and AIDS in Zimbabwe, community reaction, institutional reactions, the history of the Zimbabwean healthcare system, community research in the Southern and Central African region. And then on day 2 is going to be a methods day. We're going to spend the whole day learning qualitative research methods. And days 3 or 4 for the smaller groups are going to be dedicated to the actual CBART study, the protocol, the guidelines, and getting people ready to go to work. And the idea is that the workshop is built in modules so people can get what they need from that workshop in a very structural way. So I hope we're all going to enjoy it and have a very productive week. And we've been looking forward for such a long time, so this is really an exciting morning. And I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you more in the next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much for outlining our objectives. I think they're clear. Let me call upon David to give us the ABCs of AIDS. I'm sure you get to know what he means by that. Okay, a round of applause for David.
Thank you very much. I hope I will have someone more familiar with this to find my presentation. I'm always hesitant. But while we're working on that minor point, let me say the one thing I've learned is that it's very important by the 5th person to say all protocols. So thank you so much for showing up in the vacation time, and thanks to the university.
Yeah, I need to get this.
Yeah. Yeah. The miracle of not. Great. So I realized the ABCs was incorrect. It should be the CBA. My goal here today is just to give you a fast and broad overview of HIV in Zimbabwe, because I think most of you actually from my vantage point are children who don't know about the bad things that happened in the past. Part of the bad things that happened in the past has been since independence. There's been this plague that killed a lot of people in this country and really impacted the healthcare system in really profound ways. There's been a big international response, there's been a big local response, and it's really resulted in an extraordinary and unprecedented kind of global response to the AIDS epidemic to make antiretroviral drugs available to up to 40 million people is the current goal. And Zimbabwe has been a key player in the evolution of that process. That will help. How do you advance all the little arrows appear to be, or is it a PDF? So do that? Okay. Right. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, and this way we can get the title of the board. Right. So I wanted to make the point that this is part of a much more profound global health problem than just Zimbabwe or even just Southern Africa. I mean, the dark color are the countries that have more than 1 million people living in them who have HIV/AIDS. Zimbabwe is one, India is another, the U.S. is another. But you can see that almost every nation in the globe has been impacted by HIV/AIDS. This is truly a global epidemic. We are unfortunately in the epicenter of that, in that it is the southern cone of Africa that has the largest number, the vast majority of people with HIV. It has not left any country untouched. And I wasn't sure if any of you does anyone know what this is? It's something called Gapminder. So I thought for economic historians in particular, this is a really wonderful tool that was developed by the Karolinska Institute by a very famous epidemiologist and activist named Hans Rosner, who sadly just died. But you can see at the very top is a big blue blob that says Zimbabwe. So what this is a XY plot in which there's gross national income per capita for all of these countries, and the adult HIV prevalence, the percent of people, and then the size of the blob tells you how big the problem is. So this gives you a sense of, in the world, the very rich countries, have a fair amount of AIDS. There are a lot of these light green blobs, and these are countries where the median gross national income per capita is in the many tens of thousands of dollars. So we've been able to cope with HIV in much more sophisticated ways than even the, quote, low and middle income countries. So you see the BRICS here, Brazil and Russia, and South Africa at the top, have a big problem, a lot of patients, but they have a lot more in the way of resources to deal with it. And then there's the rest of the world, the quote, lower income countries. I think this particular snapshot was probably 2009 or 10, in which, calculating the gross national income per capita for Zimbabwe, when Zimbabwe was still, in fact, the currency of choice, was a rapidly moving target. But I think, let's put Zimbabwe along with Zambia, Lesotho, and Mozambique in a category. But this is sort of the relationship between HIV prevalence and gross national income. Those of you who are interested, if you go to gapminder.org, I think I put in there, yes. That is actually an amazing website, particularly for students of economics, health, and development, because it allows you to map data in this format where you can actually animate it and show the rate of increase. Has anyone used Gapminder? Have you ever seen this before? It's something worthwhile to think about. It's a free program, and it's really a great tool for looking at relative national changes. So, the position on slide here, we all know it's Zimbabwe. This is work that was done by Karina Duri, who's in the Department of Immunology, who published the Zimbabwe situation trends. This is in 2013, where she's just sort of telling people about Zimbabwe. But AIDS represents a very, very significant cause of premature mortality. Even at the time, it was estimated to be 30%. And at the time, in 2013, there were 665 patients on ARC, 1,000 patients on ARC. So consuming a large amount of the resources available. And I'll just update that a little bit to show you the most recent WHO. This was UNAIDS data as of last year, where now it's believed that there are 1.3 billion people in Zimbabwe who are living with HIV, and an adult seroprevalence of 13.5%. That is 1 in 8 people, adults in Zimbabwe, are impacted by this directly, not to mention the many, many other people who are affected. So I'm kind of going to divide. So HIV prevention and treatment as problems the world has grappled with and the Ministry of Health has grappled with. In 1986, when we recognized that there were people with AIDS, really prevention was the only thing we could do and the only approach to trying to do things, and that was to reduce sexual transmission, testing to screen blood, and it was really HIV testing and behavior change were the sole tools available to public health. However, it took about a decade to develop what we call ART, or antiretroviral therapy. And it turns out this was really extraordinary for all of us in medicine, in that when I was training in the 70s, that's 1970, last century, in medical school, when you said someone had a viral infection, people sort of shrugged their shoulders and say, oh, too bad, take some aspirin, and we don't have any medicines to treat viruses. So it's really been a rapid advance in pharmaceutical science that has allowed us to develop antiretroviral therapy. They can prevent progression, save lives. They prevent mother-to-child transmission, prevent the transmission. They do not cure AIDS. That's really an important point. So if you have HIV and take the drugs, you will stay alive, you will not affect other people, you won't get sick, but you have to keep taking the drugs all the time. And it took about another decade for the implementation of those life-saving drugs to actually reach many of the less affluent parts of the world. So although in 1996 we began giving people a triple drug cocktail in the United States with extraordinary results, it wasn't until the early 2000s, in Zimbabwe it was 2004 or 5, that we first began treating people with that cocktail. It involved a lot of economic, political, and judicial argumentation because, of course, pharmaceutical companies want to enforce their patent rights. The world in general agreed this was an emergency and that we need new generic drugs. So it took a long time for the effort to get organized. Sadly, a lot of people died because we couldn't get drug to them throughout the 90s and really until about 2005-06 when the treatment program began to scale up. And now we are at a point where the world is relatively united in their opinion about what to do. Test everyone. For those who are found to be positive, refer them to treatment. For those who are referred to treatment, get them on drugs.